Welcome on board the Richplanet starship, broadcasting from somewhere high above the Earth. I'm Richard D. Hall, and I'm going to kick things off as usual by taking a look at a few news items. 2 weeks ago, volcanic ash from an Icelandic volcano gave rise to the cancelling of all air flights across the United Kingdom and parts of Europe. On Saturday the 18th of April, the fifth column of the UK government and unelected minister, Peter Mandelson, appeared outside number 10 Downing Street, dressed in a cream jacket, looking oh so concerned about the chaos, and outlined emergency plans to get people home. His obvious attempts to act surprised and concerned would have made a 1950s B-movie actor proud. The cream jacket sent out a message of, "This was so unexpected and such an emergency that I didn't have time to find my usual jacket." Mandelson is known to be very particular about his choice of dress, so this jacket was probably strategically chosen to try and convey a sense of unplanned event. This is an emergency. It doesn't fool us here on the Richplanet starship. One member of the Richplanet forum commented that Peter Mandelson is about as genuine as a chocolate cockerel. There are questions that one should consider asking after this event. The first is, why have the mainstream media not mentioned a very important quote given by US Secretary of Defense William Colby in April 1997, where he said, "Others are engaging in an eco-type of terrorism where they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. So there are plenty of ingenious minds out there that are at work finding ways in which they can wreak terror upon other nations. It's real, and that's the reason why we have to intensify our efforts, and that's why this is so important." Another question not being asked is who might have benefited from having a week of clear airspace across the UK. Could there have been some kind of covert testing of HARP-type technology over the UK which required clear airspace so as not to affect thousands of flights? In the UK general election race, Liberal Democrats gained ground in the opinion polls after Nick Clegg's performance in the televised leaders' debate. If this shift is maintained to the ballot box, it means a hung parliament is likely. The last thing New World Order puppets like Peter Mandelson want is a hung parliament. For this reason, the BBC on their 10 o'clock news programme put out a totally biased news item attacking the Lib Dems' immigration policy, and further attacks on the Lib Dems followed in the nation's national newspapers. Ironically, Peter Mandelson criticised these newspapers for pressing the smear button, an obvious diversion tactic, as Mandelson was probably in on the attempt by the media to smear the Lib Dems. If Liberals hold their popularity, we may well see further smears, as the last thing the Bilderberg Group, EU and global elite want is a hung parliament, as this would open the door for a more consultative style of government. It's time to introduce this week's guests onto the show. And there is something happening all over Britain. People are beginning to see through media lies and are waking up to the truth. What has become known as the truth movement is gathering pace, and my next two guests are advocates of the truth movement and are here to talk about the work they are doing under the name of Northeast Truth. So without further ado, let's activate the teleporter and get them beamed up onto the ship.
Hello Rich, who are you?
It's Mike
Nice starship, man.
and Dean Rose. Welcome.
Crazy ride, that one.
Welcome on board the starship.
Thank you.
You both well?
Not too bad.
I'm good, mate. A bit hungover, but I'm good.
Right.
Might be through that long teleportation ride.
We're here to talk about truth, aren't we? And you are members of Northeast Truth.
That's
so, can you tell us, Mike, when was it set up and what are the objectives of Northeast Truth?
We got together. There's a number of factors that brought us together. It wasn't sort of one event. A few of us, including myself, were the first point of contact for the British Constitution Group. You know, we don't have to agree everything, their objectives, but their ideas on sovereignty and lawful rebellion. A few of us exchanged emails from there. And at the same time, I'd also started talking to one of your previous guests, Mark.
Mark Cocking, yeah.
That's right. And and I'd already met up with him, and you know, we were talking about, you know, where we're headed and what we some ideas about, you know, how we could get together. And one of the other guys who we were communicating with had booked John Harris to come up to speak. So
John Harris is a guy who speaks throughout the UK. He's a carpenter, I think, but he's also an expert on law, and he is very much into common law versus statute
the
law.
lawful rebellion movement.
Yeah, exactly. So he was doing a really good job at showing people, you know, legalese, some etymology where words have come from, and sort of how justice was sort of being subverted into the details of the corruption and how people have actually started fighting back. Touching on Magna Carta and some other issues. We got together, but we didn't actually exchange any emails at this event. And Mark was asked to do an introduction for Frankie Marr's reality show.
Right. So
we used that opportunity to get together again. It's the same people. We did the filming for the show. We met up at the Quayside. After that, we went to the pub.
So Newcastle, yeah.
Absolutely.
And how many members have you got now then? Because it's been going about 7 or 8 months, hasn't it?
So 40, isn't it? On and off.
We've
40,
got
50?
Well, we've got pretty much 50 on an internal internal list. But on our social networks on the internet, we've got, you know, a few hundred, I would say.
Okay. And how did you find out about the group, Dean?
We kind of started. We met them online. We were discussing online, and I found out because I'd always been like researching all these subjects myself anyway on an individual basis, and never really finding anyone to speak to it about because it's pretty few and far between people who look into this stuff. So
on a local level,
when I found out that there was a northeast of England branch of the Global Truth movement, so I've got to get along to that. So.
And
there were groups. They were starting up all across the country. There's the Scottish Sovereign Group. There's the one in Ireland, Wales. They're just starting to spring all over the place because the state of the world we're living in now is just getting so much worse and worse that people think that they need to do something about it. You know.
And one of the fundamental principles of your group is that you believe that we're not being told the truth by the media on a whole range of issues.
I think telling us the truth about anything.
And let me ask you to name, let's say, half a dozen of these broad issues that you think that the truth is not being told on.
Well, off the top, I mean, we could say false flag terrorism is a good example. I mean, just recently, one of our guys said, "You know why they call it 9/11?" And I said, "Tell me why." And he said, "Oh, because children between the ages of 9/11 find it easy to see that the official story is complete nonsense."
Right. Okay.
It's that simple.
Well, we can go into false flag terror, but if you list some of the other areas where
health, for example. Health. We've got suppressed energy technology.
Health being the vaccination program and that kind of thing, and things they put in water, and
it's coming from pretty much from all directions. I mean, the chemtrails for the thing that's affecting our air, water, and food. Then you've got Codex Alimentarius, the whole swine flu and vaccination scams that are going on.
Sovereignty.
Water fluoridation.
You mentioned hidden technology, which includes a whole range of issues, which again we can come on to. And you mentioned Harris, is it John Harris?
John Harris,
which is the whole area of law.
And sovereignty and lawful rebellion, something we're into as well.
Okay.
We've got one of the biggest ones that most of us have got a lot of knowledge on, and that is the fraud of central banking. It's basically, you know, the global central banking scam. Money from thin air.
Debt from thin air.
Exactly.
And then there's the other secrets, such as the criminal elite, as you call them.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got groups. I mean, even the public are now realising that our government officials are just puppets. The mainstream
the criminal
media.
elite and the affiliations with secret societies. They kind of be overstated the significance of the secret society aspect of where most of these things are dreamt up, where they conspire to instigate them.
And that's obviously more the material side of things. There's another side of our group which is the more non-material. You could call it a more spiritual aspect.
Consciousness.
Consciousness, collective consciousness, quantum communication, issues that go into that.
So if we sort of drill down into some of these areas then, let's just talk about false flag terror. Can you explain what is false flag terrorism? Because the majority of people, they haven't heard of that expression. So if you can tell...
The expression means when somebody instigates some kind of terrorist event carrying the flag of the other team, to make, basically, it means to make it look like somebody else has done it, which is the case of 9/11 when they blamed people in a cave down in Afghanistan. And then the whole 7/7 thing as well, the two complete false flag terror events. People ask, like, why would they do this? There's so many different reasons. I mean, there's the massive amounts of money they make from the arms sales during the ensuing conflicts, not to mention getting the poppy fields and the oil from these regions, and just complete military presence there, whilst at the same time creating new terror laws at home, which completely strip us even further of our civil liberties and our human rights, basically, our freedom.
Okay, and you think we're ever going to get justice on 7/7? I mean, what do you think? Because there are people calling for an inquiry, but it just seems to get swept under the carpet, doesn't it?
Well, because the people you're asking to investigate this, you'd really be asking them to investigate themselves. That's why they're not going to get any justice appealing to the authorities, because they're the ones responsible. Like, the only way anything's going to change is if enough people start waking up to the reality and make a shift from the ground up.
It has to come from the grassroots level.
And you don't even have to say it's an inside job, because all it takes is to look at the evidence, the factual evidence, and you can see that it doesn't tie in with the official story.
And on 7/7, probably one of the best films produced on that was the 7/7 Ripple Effect. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I've seen Mind the Step.
Right.
And Ludicrous Diversions.
Well, the guy who actually made 7/7 Ripple Effect, he was arrested for trying to pervert, allegedly trying to pervert the course of justice, and he spent something like 23 days in a cell just for sending his film to
he did that officially as well. He submitted it into court officially.
To the judge. Now, that's Anthony John Hill is the guy, and hopefully I'm going to get him on the show, although he's actually not allowed to talk to anyone in England about the case, so we're going to get around that somehow.
Truth has often fallen victim to the so-called justice system. Well, it's not really the justice system, it's the oppressive dictatorial state of law, the law of the law society. But yeah, like Robert Greene's another example. Trying to get the truth out, you get arrested for it.
Yeah, I think if someone's at a level where they can pull strings of people in the health or social services, the police, the legal system, they're at a level where they can they're almost above the law, you know, because they've got so much influence in other spheres, I guess.
Got more arms than an octopus.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just briefly touch on health before we go to the break and the vaccination program, because that's all seemed to have gone quiet now. You know, the old swine flu scare. And what do you think happened there? Do you think that they got cold feet and thought, oh, we can't get away with this vaccination program, or you know, what?
I think they were expecting a lot more people falling for the media hype and paranoia. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, I've bumped into quite a few people who have got a bit of a sniffling, like, oh, I've got the swine flu.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how easily manipulated people's minds are by the mainstream media. We haven't got the swine flu.
Yeah.
Not unless you've been close like pigs in Mexico. You haven't got the swine flu. The whole agenda was to get everybody vaccinated. In my opinion, it was to diminish everybody's immune system as part of a broader depopulation agenda that they had at play.
That was one of the first things we got involved in. Because obviously, as a group, we've got a very broad type of people. We've got people from, retired people. We've got very young people, and we took when we decided we needed to start actually doing something. The swine flu came along, and it was the first thing we got involved in. So we were out on the streets, handing leaflets out, talking to people on the streets about it, just showing them the facts, saying, look, it's no worse than the flu, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I gave a talk at the Irish Centre, and that was one of the things that I covered, and I contacted the NHS, North Tyneside Health Trust, and asked them to send someone across to speak, because, you know, there was quite a few people there, and to ask them, because we were going to question the World Health Organization's policy on this vaccination, and the public relations person said, no, we can only send someone who can advise you where to get your vaccination. Other than that, we can't send anyone who knows about the actual policy of the World Health Organization. We'd have to get a government person. So the people on the local level have got this blind obedience, I found. They don't question what they're being told on this vaccination. And even the World Health Organization has power over governments. They've signed away their rights because of a possible emergency situation.
There's a lot of collusion goes on with the pharmaceutical corporations, the World Health Organization, and certain people in governments. They know exactly what they're doing.
Okay. All right then, chaps. Well, we're going to go for a short break now, and we'll be talking more in part 2. Thank you. Don't go away. Welcome back on board the Starship, and we are with Dean Rose and Mike Cooper of Northeast Truth. Now, we were talking before the break, Mike, about your organisation, and how many members did you say that you have now?
to our meetings, the people have actually come physically and started a meeting, nearly 50.
Okay.
But we've got a lot more obviously linked to us on the internet.
And it's growing all the time, and
Yeah,
we'll put
rapidly.
the website address up on the screen for any viewers.
NortheastTruth.com.
Okay, northeasttruth.com. Right, and now, what about hidden technology? Because that's another area where you believe that the truth is not getting out. Tell us about what you think with regards to technology.
Yeah, well, pretty much like world-changing free energy, or what you would call over unity or 0 point from the quantum vacuum, free energy. Free energy, anybody who's invented this for the last 100 years since the time of Tesla has either had their technology suppressed or the inventor has just been what you call suicided.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So this is energy where you get more energy out than you put in, and it would basically, it would mean you wouldn't have to put petrol in your car. It would mean you wouldn't have to be connected to the electricity grid, and it would revolutionize the entire world essentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The vested interests in the fossil fuel economy, where they're raking in like trillions of pounds and dollars every year. It's in their interest to keep this energy suppressed, and that's what we've been doing for the last 100 years.
They've got us running around,
Changing our light bulbs.
arguing about who's spilling too much carbon, you know.
Yeah. And then they're trying to tax people because they're spilling carbon.
Exactly.
when
The
really
irony of that,
Yeah, which is
It's
another
ridiculous.
thing that will, another thing altogether, the carbon tax. What about other technology you think they may have then, other than over unity?
Look at weapons, for example, advanced weapons technology.
With regards to 9/11, you think?
Well, you can touch on that. I mean, exotic, people have obviously looked at exotic energy weapons at 9/11. You watch the 9/11 so-called controlled demolition, and it's not quite the same as a controlled demolition, but you can see the structure of the steel and the concrete literally turns to so much dust. Unbelievable amount of dust.
It is pretty amazing.
There are other strange things like cars that are burnt and flipped upside down and put paper right next to it that's not burnt or anything. I mean, it's pretty exotic stuff. I mean, we don't really know anything about it. Whistleblowers from the military, from these kind of militarized projects, have said that whatever we have in the mainstream technology-wise in secret military projects, they're about 30 to 50 years ahead of us.
At least. When we look at the black budget on the American side, and we're talking trillions that go into black budgets, that it's an industry that eclipses the economy.
Yeah, eclipses the known project of NASA, perhaps.
Exactly,
Yeah.
NASA, never a straight answer.
Yeah. and I mentioned on, I think it was last week's show, that Gary McKinnon, the information he found was that there were fleet-to-fleet transfers of US Navy ships which are not listed as US Navy ships, and he thinks that they are basically space stations of some sort that they've got.
He was one of the first people I saw interviewed when I first started looking into Project Camelot. And obviously, a lot of their guys. Obviously, you've got to take, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt and make your own mind up. But they've interviewed so many people, and they've linked to so many other whistleblowers, as well as even Stephen Gray's Disclosure Project. There's just far too much evidence out there.
Yeah, I think
never get
it
into
was
the
the Disclosure Project that inspired Gary to do that hacking in the first place, wasn't it? It was after watching the Disclosure Project press conference that he took it upon himself to do that hacking. He did find some things, like you say, in files of non-terrestrial officers, things like that.
Yeah. And what about medical technology? Do you think they're hiding that?
Definitely.
They have technology that can either cause illness or cure any illness if they want to release it, but they don't give a damn about people's health. They're actively engaged in trying to depopulate the planet. They're not going to bring out these kind of technologies, but they do have them, absolutely.
I mean, they're slowly leaking it in, though. They're slowly leaking the advanced technology into the mainstream. For example, you've got sort of infrared treatment or vibrational therapy. That's been used in certain ways to, say, kill tumours. Whereas, we're still sending people to destroy half of their body in chemotherapy and hope that it works, when they've got all this technology that could basically get rid of cancer.
Yeah,
no problem.
Cancer's a business, isn't it? That's what it is. It's pretty easily curable. I mean, there's things like vitamin B17. I don't know if you've seen that film World Without Cancer. Vitamin B17 can cure even terminal cancer. And there's hydrogen peroxide. Yeah, it's apricot pips. Hydrogen peroxide treatment. All this type of stuff. But it's the amount of millions that they're bringing in for cancer, so-called cancer research. So, like I say, it's big business, and it's in their interest to keep the real cures quiet.
Hemp oil. Hemp oil is another great example.
Yeah. I think there was a chap in the 70s who was alleged to have found a cure for cancer by sending, microwaves at different frequencies to the cancer cells.
That's it.
And he died in mysterious circumstances. I don't recall his name. But what about other things relating to food and drugs and that kind of thing? What about the air supply and the water supply? I mean, another thing that a lot of people are concerned about is chemtrails. But I don't know a lot about. I mean,
it's a funny one. Chemtrails.
Yeah.
There's definitely something going on there. I mean, I went on a website the other day. It's called PPRUM, Professional Pilot Rumour Network. And when I used to be a Disclosure Project rep, I found a few pilots on there who to add them to the list of whistleblowers for the Disclosure Project team. But I went back on that site, and it was pretty staggering how, out of all of these thousands of professional pilots, you can't admit that there's something going on. I mean, how can they not see it up there flying in amongst it, and yet thousands of people on the ground film them doing it every day?
Yeah.
The evidence is getting better for it as well. I mean, a few videos came out in the last few weeks. We've got seemingly commercial aircraft that has been seen turning around and coming right back again. It doesn't happen, If it's a commercial passenger airline, they're not going to, start gliding around all day, and you can even see them. It looks, the way it looks, as if they're turning the emissions on and off.
Right.
You've seen those videos. I remember back years ago, you see the planes coming over. You could see the water vapor creating the condensation trail. It used to disappear within a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the most.
Some of them still do. I mean, sometimes
you can see them as well at the same time.
Genuine contrails and chemtrail in the same airspace, and you can see there's a vast difference between them.
Right. So if we say that, or go on the premise that they are spraying something in the air, what are they spraying and what's it for, do you think?
A lot of people have analysed the air quality in the water, and they're saying aluminium and barium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beyond that,
which is what, to make people dumber?
They're heavy metals. I mean, aluminium, which is where the fluoride that they put in our water comes from. Aluminium. It's been related to Alzheimer's and other brain kind of diseases like that, and that's why I think they put fluoride in the water supply. It's well known. I mean, the Nazis and the Soviets just used it in the concentration camps to pacify and keep docile the prisoners so they wouldn't rebel. Okay. And you've got to ask why a corrupt government would want to keep the whole nation pacified with fluoridated water. They don't really care for our teeth.
With the
Yeah.
chemtrails, it's something that needs a lot more work. You know, we're still too close to. There's still too many theories. We haven't got enough facts on that one yet. But we're getting closer
It's
every
hard
day.
to get factual because unless you have a way of climbing 10,000 feet, you can't really collect samples. I mean, you can collect samples when they fall to the ground, but
Yeah, I've not done any work on chemtrails, so I'm speaking from a point of ignorance. But my point would be, if I was going to spray something in the air to poison the population, I would make sure that it wouldn't be visible.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I would make it invisible, not leaving a trail.
most people have pointed these trails out too on the street. They say, yeah, I thought it was just a cloud.
Yeah.
You don't even give it a second glance because it looks like a normal colour of a normal contrail and a cloud. If it was a funny colour, then they would start suspecting it. But because it just looks like an innocuous cloud, they don't suspect it.
Okay.
There are a couple of videos, just briefly there. There's a guy, an ex-military weatherman, who was looking at the satellite footage, and you saw the crisscrossing. He said, "Oh yeah, I know what that is. That's just
Military chaff.
it's just the military chaff, you know, to disturb the radar. They're just training." But this, you know, this happens. This is permanent now. It's all over the country. It's all over the world. So it's not a military training operation worldwide.
Okay. Okay.
People are celebrating the other day when all the flights were being grounded because of this volcanic cloud or whatever it was. People were out celebrating the first blue sky,
Right.
untainted, that they've seen in years. You know, it lasted out for about 5 days, and then they came back out and
Beautiful
started
skies.
making up for lost time.
For a week.
Yeah, yeah. Who benefits, eh? Right, and yeah, after the break we will talk about common law versus statute law, because we mentioned John Harris earlier and in his campaign, because that's very interesting, and you know the free man movement. But before we do that, or before the break, actually, we're now going to feature the artist of the week, and this week the artist of the week is sitting in front of me because it is Dean, and the song, Dean is a singer-songwriter, and this song is called, I'll let you introduce it, Dean.
It's called, funnily enough, Cover Up.
Okay.
Cover Up.
And it's all about UFO and
The whole picture, it's all a cover up.
okay then, take it away.
They lied to us about 9/11. They blamed on people who killed for heaven. Like Roswell back in 1947. And the Lone Man Jew unit took out Lennon. They keep it covered up. All the people at the top. You gotta open your eyes, see through their lies. Open your mind, they're scared of what you might find. Open your mouth, go let it out. You gotta fight for your right. You gotta fight for your right. Know the truth. Our ancestors came from a cosmic being. We traced our lineage, but we just can't reach. Well, we're stuck in the world like a giant leech. All the children learn as the parents teach. Oh, no. Trying to get to the top. Oh, but they keep coming up. Yeah, you better open your eyes. See through their lies. for the right. Yeah, you gotta fight for your right. CIA's got UFOs in the USA, and they keep covered up. CIA's got UFOs in the USA, and they keep covered up. So the CIA's got UFOs in the USA, and they keep covered up. Keep it covered up. Since DCI on the CIA's got UFOs in the USA, and they keep it covered up. Yeah, 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 they keep it covered up. Chief, that's what they say. I just gotta believe you anyway. They're spending $1 billion every day on hiding that truth away. Oh no. So they keep it covered up. They keep it covered up. Keep it covered up. Keep it covered up. Keep it covered up. Yeah, they keep it covered up. Yeah, they keep it covered up. Yeah, they keep it covered up. You gotta fight to disclose what they've covered up.
Welcome back on board the Starship, and we are joined as usual with the Starship pet Ulysses, who is standing on my notes. Okay, now this week's interesting person of the week is Nick Colostrom, who is the author of the book Terror on the Tube, which he has kindly sent me a copy of, and I am reading with great interest. Terror on the Tube, Behind the Veil of 7/7, which basically is an investigation into what really happened in the terrorist attack of 7/7. So let's have a look at Nick's clip.
I'm quite old now, and it seems to me that what I've seen, that the British people believe too much in war and in the military and in what is called military intelligence. And they spend too much money on the military, and they don't realise the power that it has in our civilization. And it now has military intelligence has a power to create images of what seems to have happened. It's a fabricated reality. This is very much due to the deep connection of Britain and America, British-American military, CIA, Mossad, MI5, that images are created of what people think are real, and they're actually war-ratifying illusions. The point of them is to justify the war. People now want new wars against Islamic countries. I mean, can you count how many are now going on? They're trying hard to start a new one against Iran, and they want you to fear Islamic terror. Now, the way to stop this happening is to see through these delusional images, to see that the terror is real, but it is not the way it's been structured. And if it hurts too much to look at the London bombing, then look at 9/11, the way that was constructed. About half the American people now believe that they haven't been told the truth, and maybe that the government was in some degree involved and let it happen on purpose. Okay? Now, There's various events around the world like that's what we've seen. Obviously constructed one last Christmas. Mutalab, the Christmas bomber, tried to blow up his pants. I mean, a whole lot of things about that look structured and artificial. And that is, it's fake terror. That is what happens now. Try and convince people to fear. Politicians want you to live in fear. Why do they want you to live in fear? Ask yourself that question. Why can't they give you an agenda by which we can be happy and get on together? Who actually wants the demonised enemy image? Well, I passionately believe we need to see through these enemy images. And we need to get together and discuss it. You can't just do it by yourself. We need group activity to talk about how come we're made to live in fear and given these stories which are terrifying, but they're not as such true. They're not true in the terms in which they are presented. That is, I believe it's a desperately important message, and although writing this book has got me into a lot of trouble, okay, a lot of character vilification and stuff, that's why I wrote it. I feel that British people will need to try to find out what is true and understand that the ordinary media can't do it. Why not? Because the poor journalist has to write something down as soon as he gets it, within a day or so. He hasn't got time, the months, to ponder things and find out the truth before he writes them. And so we need some sort of truth movement that is able to find these things out.
And don't forget, if you think or suspect that you may be interesting, we want to hear from you. So if you make a YouTube video of you being interesting and email a link to starship@richplanet.net and we'll take a look at it. Okay, and that brings me to this week's interesting scientific fact, which is that there are 60,000 miles of blood vessels in the human body. Now, we've recently been looking through the richplanet.net archives, trying to find what viewers believe to be their favourite clip. And without question, the clip I'm about to show you, we've had the most feedback on this. It's this particular clip. And this documentary follows the story of Robert Hall, whose uncle is believed to have killed an alien in 1940.
He'd be just coming off duty now. So I run round to South Road and Sergeant Bruce come along. I says, he's killed it. He says, killed what? And he went for his truncheon and had the old-fashioned police mark on, and he come round the corner. He said, by God, and he was crossing his son praying. He says, I've never seen out like it. They put it on a coal sack and pulled it into the backyard, into the coal place is still there to this day. They pulled it into there. You see, you get yourself away home. I says, no, I've been telling you the damn truth. There is your proof. Get yourself away home, Robert. I says, no, I'm standing here.
Absolutely incredible. Robert's uncle, Ernie Wren, had killed the creature with a coal shovel. This is the precise spot where the alien was hit over the head with the shovel. Let's just take a look at that clip again, this time in slow motion. This is the precise spot where the alien was hit over the head with the shovel. Actually, this shovel belongs to my father, and when we were filming, I said, "Oh, can I borrow that shovel in the garage, Dad?" He says, "Oh yeah, no problem, no problem." He said, "What do you need it for?" I said, "I'm going to reenact slaying an alien grey." "Oh, that's fine. Just take it." Okay. Right. Okay. Back to Mike and Dean, who are going to continue talking about Northeast Truth. Now, before the break, we heard Dean's fantastic song, and you were going to say something about music and its involvement with your current group.
Yeah, well, one of the main reasons we got together was Lawful Rebellion, which is something we're going to talk about shortly. But we've noticed, we noticed really early on that we've all got some sort of musical, either it's a massive
musicians in the group,
either musicians or DJs, or and we're talking across the board from electronic music production to instruments.
So this is a common.
It is. It seems to be a way higher than average, and that seems to be the same theme across all of the so-called truth movement.
Right.
A lot of these groups do have a lot of people.
Right. Well, I can play 3 chords on the guitar. I mean, does
Yeah.
can I join the group?
Oh yeah, man.
Of course.
Played a lot of songs with 3 chords.
D, G, and A.
Yeah. Bad Moon Rising.
I think it's the free thinking that a lot of musicians are generally free thinkers.
Right.
And our group obviously gives free thinkers a place
Uh-huh.
to meet.
Okay.
And we are generally like, a little family at times. We'll support each other. We help each other out in court.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few of us got certain lawful games of tennis, you could say, going
Yeah.
on.
Now, we mentioned John Harris before the break, and he's a very important person in the truth movement. Can you tell us about John Harris and
Yeah.
where he's coming from?
Yeah, he was one of the main catalysts for bringing us together. So, he deserves a bit of credit there. He was almost the figurehead for Lawful Rebellion at one point.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing a lot of talks around the country. He was basically, he was teaching people the history of our justice system, legalese, the tricks that the Law
Double
Society
speak.
play, exactly. All the...
So he's basically a carpenter who educated himself on the whole of law, basically.
What he was doing, he was
Pretty
kind
much.
of pointed out how the Law Society had cleverly and deviously kind of bundled in the law of the land, common law, real law, and then bundled in statutory law, which is actually corporate and maritime law, and they stuck the whole thing together and just called it the law.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of just assumed that it's the law, but it's not statutory law. It's a contract law. You don't have to abide by it unless you agree to contract to
It's
their
a contract
terms.
that you,
It's a contract
and they
law.
just assume that you have
Everything's a
agreed.
contract.
Yeah.
Because
And most
they've sent
people
you a
don't know
letter
they
or
have a
something like
choice.
that.
Yeah.
And I think so common law is, I mean, I'm not an expert on law, but it protects against a crime against the person,
Don't cause another human being suffering or loss.
right,
Yeah.
suffering or
That's
loss.
the very basics.
That's
Obviously,
the basis of common law, and any other law is statute law,
Yeah.
which you have to agree to accept.
If there's no human being is a victim of this so-called crime, then it's not common law. So like pretty much all road traffic statutes, anything that's called an act, all of those statutes, they're ways. So if you look at what John Harris also pointed out is, if you look online, you can find that the magistrates' courts of this country, as well as being representing the Crown in justice, there are also businesses running for profit. Where are they getting that profit from? They're getting it from the revenue of the fines that they collect for people who are breaching these ever-increasing volumes of statutes which are getting written every day.
And I believe there is a mechanism by which one can opt out of all statute law.
well, that's part of the sort of the Freeman side of things.
Can you explain that for us, Mike?
Yeah, the basics of it is if you send a notice, which is generally called a notice of understanding, claim of right, you basically spell out what you believe is the truth. You claim, you claim that you're not a legal personality, you're not a corporate fiction.
You're a sovereign human being.
Yeah, you are a flesh and blood sovereign.
Right.
You give certain people an opportunity to rebut your truthful statements, and after a certain period of time, if they don't, then it goes down as truth in law.
Right.
And people are also using Article 61 of the Magna Carta, which is a lawful rebellion.
That dates back to 1215 or something.
Yeah, it's a contract between King John and the people of the country.
Which still stands
to this
today.
day. I mean, they'll
Most
try
of
and
it
tell
was
you that it was
repealed.
repealed by his son, but you cannot repeal somebody else's contract. The only person who could repeal that clause would be King John.
Right.
So his son couldn't reclaim that. What his son did essentially was to come up with a new contract, which is running concurrently, but the original one of the Magna Carta still stands.
And people like Albert Burgess, as well as John Harris, are two people, if you watch their presentations online, they go into a lot of detail on that issue.
So essentially you can take your sovereignty back from the Queen. Is that
Yeah.
what you do when you become a free man?
That's
Is
what it's
that,
called,
and then you're only subject to common law?
Yeah.
Right.
In theory, it's
It's
difficult to
new.
put into practice. It's
Yeah.
difficult to put into practice because the legal establishment, from police to the magistrates, they're so used to getting it their own way for so long that do you put up a fight when you come along with this type of lawful rebellion stuff? But essentially, we're in the right. You know, we're in the right. We are living human beings. We're creations of the mind of the universe. You know, and these people are tyrants and criminals.
And just to touch on why people are starting to reject the sovereignty of the land is because they believe that our government has committed treason by taking us into the EU. And
That's right.
Okay. Do you care to talk about that? I mean,
Ted Heath, maybe?
What it's basically down to is it's what they call the New World Order. They're trying and they're actively engaged, and they're getting closer to it, having a one-world dictatorial government. And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, there's something called Common Purpose. It's kind of like a secretive program where they're trying to basically undermine the British Constitution to basically so that we're run by the EU by stealth. And it's part of their agenda to set up a one-world government. This Illuminatist, it comes back again to the secret societies.
You see, the thing with the one-world government is, in principle, there's probably nothing wrong with a one-world government.
It's what we want as well at the same time.
It's just the fact that they're doing it behind our backs.
We want world unity.
So that it becomes a dictatorship rather than a government of the people, I guess.
I mean, if you think about it, they need to maintain the capitalist system of competition. So if they control, if we have a world government run, say, along the lines of the IMF, for example, which has been mentioned in certain mainstream magazines, even like The Economist, who's mentioned the powers that are behind the World Bank and the IMF actually creating a legal global structure.
A united world would be good if everyone was honest. The problem is that these people who position themselves in these positions of power are anything but honest, and they have anything but the good of the people in mind.
Which brings us on to more secret knowledge, which is the secret knowledge of secret societies and groups such as the Bilderberg Group.
The Bohemian Grove Holiday Park.
So this is, well, you care to tell us about that, Dean?
Well, I don't know too much about the whole secret society ways, but I know they're pretty weird if you see some footage of what they get up to, you know. And there's basically people, members or prominent members within these secret societies, the Freemasonic structure, have positioned themselves into the top judicial, political and banking positions in the world, and they pretty much have control of everything. You know,
It's easy to discard. It's easy for people to say, "Oh, the Bilderberg Group, you know, it's a waste of energy. Don't focus on that." But we know that it is a gathering. It mainly is European. It's not
NATO, isn't it?
It's mainly the European side. It's not world elite. It's not world corporation owners. It generally is more of a European faction. So people say, "Oh, they're deciding world policy." Well, there's not enough people from around the world for that to happen. So I would say they're sort of united on the European level and the American level.
The globalists.
I think it's very important for the people, the human beings, sovereign human beings, like we in this room, to collectively
on this
wake
spaceship,
up and take
we in this spaceship.
We in this craft. To collectively wake up and take back our own power and rule ourselves, because the people who've got the run of it right now, we need them out.
Yeah, well, I don't think I would argue against that, Dean.
Yeah, well.
And I'd like to thank both of you for coming in. And is there any other final message you've got for, let's say, for people out there who are sceptical of what you're about? What would you say to them, Mike?
I'm just as sceptical. I'm always sceptical. We don't always agree.
Be sceptical, but be open-minded.
Yeah, be open-minded. We don't disagree. We don't agree on everything at all. We come together and we'll happily disagree with each other in our meetings.
Okay. And people can find out on the internet how to get and come along and join in with your meetings. But thank you very much, both of you, for coming on board the Starship, and we'll get you beamed back down to planet Earth.
Great.
Thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
having
much
us.
for having us.
Okay? And it only remains for me to say, keep your eyes on the skies and your feet on the ground, and the truth is the only thing that will set you free.